into walking away from a career in the fashion industry, and this has been feeding my soul. It's my wife. So, it's been a heck of a journey, as you can see on the slide on the screen there. The Union Rescue Mission was formed December 4th, 1891 by Lyman Stewart. And it's been a heck of a journey. It started as a gospel wagon down in downtown LA. There were like 200 bars, and lots of men had come from the east looking for work. And they couldn't find work, and they drowned their sorrows in the bars. And Lyman's wagon would pull up out front. Hey, repent, walk away from the bottle. And that's where I'm on the wagon, I'm off the wagon came from. True story. And then from there, as you can see, sort of that 1907, we moved into where City Hall is now as the first mission site. Then in 1926, we moved to the mission on Main Street, and we were there for 68 years, correct, Andy? And then in 1994, we opened up on San Pedro, right in the middle of Skid Row, and we've been there as our main headquarters since 1994. In 2007, with a lot of pushback from the community, we opened up Hope Gardens on 77 beautiful acres in the canyon in Selmar. We opened a thrift store in 2014. We now have two. We're on the verge of a third to create jobs and revenue to help support our work here. We opened up a Sprung structure thanks to Mr. Kevin Dretzka's effort to manage that project, and he also helped manage this project. You'll hear a lot more of that as the day goes on. And today, April 14, 2022, Angela's house here in South Los Angeles. Why South LA? 65% or more of the people on Skid Row come from South Los Angeles. Skid Row has the highest crime rate in America per Forbes magazine. Of the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods, number 1, 2, and 3 are Skid Row, Los Angeles. True story. So why not come to where they are, give them a safe place to land. We're going to have about 3 or 4 families for openers, but 7 or 8 will move in today, more tomorrow. We got Wells Fargo sending a Brinks truck full of Easter baskets here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So, why are we here today? And so many people in this room are responsible for why we are here to help this happen. We can't thank you enough. And I'll thank you a little more in a minute. But why are we here? The homeless population in LA County is out of control. It's estimated at 86,000 human beings are experiencing homelessness, and of that, 62,000, 72% are unsheltered with nowhere to go. So this very, very needed facility in a neighborhood that is a major feeder of the homeless population, we're right smack dab in the middle of that. Thanks to your support and all you do to help us run this organization that costs $60,000 a day to run now, and it'll be closer to $70,000 a day after today with this being open. And of that, this is the last official count, which was January of 2020, the LA County count. Families were up over 45%. We were in the midst of this. This has been like a 5-year project. Thank God we did it, right? And so we're going to open up today. We're going to be a landing spot that's safe. It has all those fully supportive services that you guys saw on your tour. And if you got cut short, if you didn't get one, we're touring all day long until 5 p.m. So if you want to stick around, we're going to have lunch after we do the ribbon cutting, and then we'll hope you stick around with us. But it's obviously very, very needed. There was not a count in LA County in 2021 due to the pandemic, but there was one in February of this year. Those numbers have come out in May or June. Okay. And when you look at the whole state, same thing. California is the worst in the entire country. And again, 72% are unsheltered. We just throw a couple of the cities at you. Okay, LA County, 86,000 estimated. Boston, 1,600. Atlanta, 3,200. Houston, 4,000. Chicago, with all our hills, 5,000 people. We got 86,000 people. And Andy whispered to me just before I came up here that the mayor's had a 50-minute press conference saying all the stuff he's done. As Andy says to me daily, they couldn't do worse if they planned it. It's sad. So thank God for doing this. Thank God you guys have supported us. And what is the root cause of all this? This is from an article, pre-pandemic LA Times. Thank you, LA Times, for being here. We appreciate you guys. it's heavily based on mental illness and substance addiction. You can see here the yellow bars, LAHSA, Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. At this point in time, this is October of 2019. With the pandemic, it's hard to get an updated figure for these, but mental illness, they said, was 25%. Substance abuse is 14. LA Times, in their own research, says, hold on, it's more like 50 is what we're finding. And UCLA, with their research, which matches closer to what we find or who's coming to our doors, is more like 75 to 80%. In fact, Latanya, our VP of Emergency Services, says, I should say it's 85% mental illness who's coming out doors, especially single women. And what's the end result of that? People are dying on the streets. You know, if you follow Andy in the press, and he's been on just about every major network there is talking about this, like 4.5 people a day are dying in LA. That's double over the last 3 years. 1,612 people died in 2021. And what do people think about that? I think everybody in this room is why you're committed to us, you're supporting us. You're tired of it, right? Homelessness has been spiraling out of control for way too long. This is from the LA Times, February 15th. The number one thing on people's mind is crime and homelessness here in Los Angeles County. So you are around our efforts. This past year, we welcomed in over 4,900 precious souls, over 875 of those are children, 2,100 women, 1,900 men. We served over 700,000 meals, 200 nights of safe shelter, and moved over 650 people into a more permanent housing situation. All those numbers are down from the year before because we had to have 50 square feet of sleeping space per person downtown, which cut our dorms, bunk beds, and all that down. So we're thrilled. We now have this space here, individual apartments, individual bathrooms. It's a lot safer. It's a lot more COVID preventive. So it's really going to be a thriving metropolis to help people. We have strategic partnerships with Pepperdine Mental Health. They are here in this building as well. Thank God for that. Thank you, Pepperdine. USC Dental Clinic, over 7,000 procedures downtown. The LA Christian Health Care Center is going to be here doing the dental and the mental health, and the medical here in the building downtown. And we've done all that with zero government support. No government money out there. That help support us from individual donors, foundations, some corporate money, a few churches, and new market tax credits. I think our friends are here from Wells Fargo. They helped us get $9.1 million of new market tax credits to help construct and run this building. So our vision is realized. It's nearly 100% funded. It is 100% funded by private money, but it's 3 stories, 75,000 square feet, 86 apartments, 364 beds for moms, dads, and kids, with all the supportive services that we handle at our other locations to help people address what they're dealing with. Today, we're a tad short. It's a $55 million capital campaign. Brad Lehman, where are you, Brad? Brad's company helped us start this campaign. And it started out as a $29 million campaign, and it grew to a $55 million. But we did a lot of things. We helped other properties, and we have $10 million, or nearly $10 million in reserve to run this building for 3 years on the day we're opening it, and we have zero debt. So we'd just like to say thank you to each and every one of you in this room. Everybody has had a role here, whether you've been a donor to this specific project, or a donor that helps us run this massive organization each and every day. So many of you have done that. Whether you were with the architecture team, with P&G, the contractors that built this facility, whether you're a staff member that has helped us run this place in our organization, to have a sterling reputation to do this work every single day, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of that to help us get where we are today. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you all very, very much. We're worthy of your support. 82 cents of every dollar, and really it's 85.5%. I pursue our CFO this week on our most recent published fiscal year. 85.5% of every dollar donated to us is going to programs. That's pretty darn good. We're 4-star Champion Navigator, the highest rating you can get. We're Platinum by GuideStar, which is now owned by Candid, so we'll give them some credit, Tim. Candid by, okay, Platinum. But anyway, It's a good organization. Thank you for supporting us. We couldn't do this work without you. Because of you, we can, which is never turn away a woman or a child or a family from my doors. So thank you very much. And now I'm going to welcome up our Angels of Hope TV special. It used to be a ballroom gala. We ran over to Joel McHale's garage 2 years ago, made $1.8 million. They moved to CBS last year. We did $3.2 million. We're going for $4 million this year. Joel McHale was going to try and be here, but his wife's out of town and he had to be somewhere else. But he is going to be live on TV. He's starting to try and connect with CBS and interview with them to make the news. But we hope you'll tune in and support that. And I want to thank my wife for all the great graphics she does. She designed a lot of images over there. But I think she wants to kill me because CBS has changed the logo on the TV show, and you'll see it tomorrow. So, honey, I know you want to murder me, but I now have 200 witnesses that have to you. All right? Thank you all very much, and here's Andrew.
Thanks for being here. Richard covered so much, I can make mine much shorter. But, thank you so much for your participation. You made it possible for us to always say yes. That's what I love best about today. You made it possible to say yes even to a family that I saw on the news this weekend on the ABC News. They were on the streets of San Bernardino. Grandma, mom, son, Perseus, yes, that's his name, and Chihuahua, and walking the streets of San Bernardino for 3 years and nowhere to go. And I tracked down the news desk and talked to Emily at ABC. And at the end of the day, I was talking to Grandma Tierney. And I can tell you that Tierney, Courtney, Perseus, and Mogos, that's Spanish for a word I won't say, but it's burgers. They are in room 213 as of this morning. And they're such a beautiful family. If you're in the room, wave, will you? I don't know if you keep down. Love to see them. You'll see them on the news later. They're back in their room, 213. I'd be in my room too if I wandered the streets of San Bernardino for 3 years. But I want to tell you, I was asked by the news this morning, why do you do what you do? What drives you, right? And big thing is that my dad was homeless from 4 to 17. In fact, he went to Roosevelt Elementary, 3.5 miles from here in Compton, while he lived in a garage of a relative. He lived in the mountains of San Bernardino. And I was trying to get us to do something big in Compton because so many people from our mission came from Compton. And my dad grew up part-time in Compton, so we wanted to go to Compton, but we appeared there and we got kicked straight out of Compton. Sorry. But they didn't get us far. They didn't kick us far because half of our building will go to Compton schools and half of our building will go to LA County schools, so we couldn't kick us far. And I just want to share with you, I won't share everything I was going to share with you, but I wrote a poem this morning. I wrote a paper 17 years ago that was in the downtown news, but I can't find it. The title of it is Skid Row Must Go. Right? We have got to end the corralling and containment of precious human beings on the streets of the most dangerous neighborhood in the U.S., and that's not what we're doing. We're continuing the corralling and containment, building density, more density on the streets of Skid Row. Absolutely not what we should do. We should regionalize services throughout LA County and decentralize Skid Row. And I can tell you some of the mayoral candidates are going to do exactly that when they get a chance But I said, here's my poem. I couldn't find the document. Skid Row must go. The private funding of Angela's house means drugs and alcohol will not freely flow. The faith and recovery of our families and staff will surely grow. This safe, restorative community, far from the mean streets of Skid Row, will clearly and absolutely show Angela's house an incredible effort we've accomplished together is truly the way to go. I know it doesn't match up with Compton rap, but I like it better. Let me read from Scripture, the most important place to read from. Is such the fast that I choose a day for a person to humble himself? Is it to bow down his head like a reed and to spread sackcloth with ashes under him? Will you call this a fast and a day acceptable to the Lord? Let me add, no. Is not this the fast that I choose to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover him and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, here am I. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing finger and speaking wickedness, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness, and your moon be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places, and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a water garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. And here's the closer. And your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy.
God bless you, Andy.
Christ like human being I know personally. Guy pours himself every day, out every day, 24 hours a day. And somebody, Harry Winston, Beverly Hills, I lost an earring. You? It's up here if it's yours. So next up is our beloved board member, project manager, fund capital campaign fundraiser, jack of all trades. I think he's poured out 312 weeks, 6,000 hours of volunteer time. How about that? And if you look at the donor wall, he is right over there. So let's do, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Fresco.
Okay, everyone. Richard, thanks for the introduction and the 6,000 hours. You know, I was getting out of my car coming here, and an old friend came up to me and said, Kevin, your hair's a lot whiter since the groundbreaking ceremony. So thanks a lot. And Andy, listen, the rap lyrics were okay. Stick to the homeless business. That's some nice poetry.
Remember our first New Jersey.
Oh, don't remind me of those. So, anyway, good morning and welcome. Welcome to all. Today is a good day for homeless children and their parents in our community. Our insightful CEO had long made the case for decentralizing Skid Row so residents could experience faster and better recoveries outside of the crime and chaos. So 6 years ago, I called Andy, around 6 years ago, asked if he was ready to develop a transition home for families outside of Skid Row to implement that plan. And this would be based on our success at Oak Garden, the facility for mothers and children we have in Silmar. After Andy gave an emphatic yes, I reminded him that we did not have a site, we did not have a permit, which is comparable to a suicide run in this town. Oh, and by the way, we didn't have any money. Yeah, we're drilling the hole, Andy said, that's probably the case. After talking to Andy, I had a case of buyer's remorse, but it was too late to look back. At that time, families, as you heard Richard say, were the fastest growing segment in the homeless population. And URM was the only Skid Row organization helping families. The other organizations were catering to single men, to some extent, single women. But this was an opportunity to listen to St. James, who tells us, be a doer of the word, and not one who only hears the word, deluding yourself. Okay? So here we are today. But to be honest, St. James, forgive me, there were many times when self-delusion was needed to continue being a doer here. That's okay, you sort of bend the scriptures and use them to your advantage. So the goal of Angela's House is to stabilize and transform families so they can return to society and lead satisfying and self-sufficient lives. Yeah. Angela's House, as you heard Richard say earlier, is 75,000 square feet, comprised of 86 residential units with 364 beds to accommodate families of all sizes. This is the largest family transition home in the Western U.S. in one address. So as you saw in your tours, 8,300 square feet is dedicated to case management and support services, including daycare, medical, dental, classroom, computer lab, mental health counseling offices. So URM will provide job search, job training, job placement, computer training, GED classes, financial management classes, legal assistant, and housing placement. Some well, Richard, that's a little close. I'll go with the technical. Sorry, some of you weren't hearing me. So, Sylvia, my wife, I hope you heard that nice intro I got. I need some points in. So, okay, some asked about our project management effectiveness in the development of this project. URM is a careful steward of your support. Most of us have heard about recent taxpayer-funded Measure H and related Triple H projects costing $650,000 or more per unit to develop. Last month, the LA Times reported about Measure H projects coming online next year costing $800,000 or more per unit when completed. Angela's House development cost is $440,000 per unit. And that cost includes all the case management and support services space. If we build a typical Measure H funded apartment facility without the added support space, Angela's House cost would be around $390,000 per unit, or 50 to 60% of the cost of government-funded facilities. So, another thing that came up, while asking for support to build Angela's House, Andy and I and Richard were on the begging patrol here. We didn't have any money, we just had a pickup that we shared with a cell phone and went around asking people half the time. That's okay. So, how much government support did we get? Everyone was shocked when they heard the answer. 0. So why is that? First, if we accept state, county, or city funding, we're required to allow drug and alcohol use in our facilities. URM has a non-negotiable clean and sober policy towards residents. URM is a faith-based organization. While we accept all who come to our door, regardless of their beliefs, we do not require Bible classes or service participation, nothing. Just show up. But our care and recovery programs are based on biblical principles. Being faith-based is unacceptable to local and regional governments, unfortunately. But it's interesting to note that government agencies have no problem referring those needing help to URM. I'm sorry, but this isn't in my notes, but far be it from me during this happy occasion to accuse government agencies of duplicity. Sorry, kind of a grumpy jab. Thanks for the therapy. Rational people understand that sobriety, especially in the presence of children, is essential to stabilization. Right? And having God be near, I said it, God, G-O-D, I can't spell it. Having God near and available to those who are in this dark and horrible situation is not hindering anyone's constitutional rights. Recently, I was asked about the population of homeless children in LA and how will Angela's House help. You heard from Richard the most recent published homeless stats, about 3,000 families. Based on past year portions, that this would mean at least 1,700 unsheltered children are in greater Los Angeles now, about 1,700. So Angela's House has 364 beds, so depending on the number of parents that are in the family, Angela's House can accommodate around 250 children, or 15% of that 1,700. We can't solve the problem, but having 250 fewer children sleeping in cars or on the street is a big step in the right direction. So, residents come and go here. Some are here for 4 or 6 months or 9 months. So, in the coming years, Angela's House will help stabilize thousands of children and their parents in a safe and sober environment with all the support services here to get them where they need to go. So there we go. Angela's House is a reality due to the help and efforts of many to whom we are very grateful. So to our capital campaign supporters, thank you for believing in us and backing our project. Thanks for sharing your treasure during a time in our culture that believes sending a tweet in support is virtuous on its own. Thanks to the Capital Campaign Committee, especially Lisa and Tim Sloan, for your time, talent, and treasure. To the URM Board of Directors, thanks for supporting and believing in a project which is beyond our reach and even look crazy on paper. Thanks to the URM staff, especially Andy, Richard Newcomb, and Chris Sue, for your great efforts here, staying with it, staying steady and on it. Thanks to the Brad Leyland, Rosie Perez, thanks for keeping the capital campaign on track, which was needed during the ups and downs. So, to our neighbors and the local community, thanks for trusting URM and giving our residents the opportunity for a second chance. We will be a good neighbor. Thanks to the key service providers. Thanks to key service providers, including Patty Newcomb with the graphics. Yeah, Patty, wherever you are, still married, good. So Los Angeles Christian Health Centers for medical and dental, welcome aboard. We actually will be helping the wider community with those 2 dental chairs because that's excess capacity that we have. So LA Christian will bring in other folks from around here. So Reverend Thompson, wherever you are, some of your parishioners are going to have shinier teeth in the coming years. So, in Pepperdine University for mental health and legal aid, thank you. Thank you to the tax credit team, including Wells Fargo, Los Angeles Development Fund, TeleQ, Capital for Compassion, and our pro bono council at Holland and Knight. And to the project team, including HED, P&G Builders, LDC, Parkley, Catalyst and Steelcase, all this furniture from Catalyst and Steelcase, basically at or low cost, thank you. And Chuck Moore, thanks for the work and being part of the team. The added capacity at Angela's House will allow URM to continue its long-standing policy, never turning away families. So, children and their parents should never be living in a car. Angela's House is built on God's promise to Isaiah in chapter 40. I am doing something new, a roadway to the wilderness, rivers in the desert. We will make a way for you.
I want to thank our donors. You guys are amazing. We appreciate it so much. A special shout out to our special angel, Scott Miner. But here's the thing. Even with a heartfelt dream and a list of quality programs and an organized growing bank account being enriched by generous donors, this beautiful home for families would not be standing if it weren't for the intelligence, hard work, and never say die tenacity of one man, Kevin Dretzka. 2 years ago, when we held the groundbreaking in February of 2020, I believe I referred to Kevin as a miraculous tornado. Well, Kevin, I've upgraded you to a miraculous hurricane. The amount of blood, sweat, and tears you have poured into this project is to be greatly admired, and the amount of time away from your day job and your family that you have given to creating safe bridge housing for families exemplifies the compassion we all strive for as God's servants. Don't let this go to your head, Kevin, but today, I can say without a doubt, on behalf of the URM Board of Directors, you, sir, are our hero. Thank you. Volunteer extraordinaire, 6,000 hours over 312 weeks. Angela's House, April 14th, 2020, the URM Family Center.
Thank you everyone. I'm sorry to get a little weepy at the end. These 6,000 hours are, it was an honor to work here and to have this great team and make it through with the support. At the bottom it says you get a free 2 months at the Betty Ford Center. Yeah, so I'm not going to peel off that free pass these just yet. But thank you everyone for the support. We're doing good work with your help. And thanks to everyone for the award and the team folks. We are there.